Hey guys, what's up? So in the last video, one of you commented and asked for a beginner level type video discussing rods, reels, and line. So rather than talk about baits or advanced tactics or anything boat related, we're gonna break it down, and this is gonna be Bass 101, how to select a rod and reel if you're just getting into bass fishing. All right, let's go. All right, so we're back here in the boat in the garage. And like I said, we're gonna talk about kind of a 101 level tutorial on selecting a rod and reel for the entry level bass fishing angler. Whether it be you, your kid, your significant other. If you decided to pick up bass fishing specifically, this is gonna be more of an entry level, here's a guide on how to select a rod, the line to select, type of reel, and kind of get you to a base level platform to have maybe one or two rods and reels that you can go out and use at a local pond, river, stream, whatever you have near you, and catch fish. The entry-level rod and reel setup most of you probably used as a kid and don't know that they offer more grown-up options. It's going to be the standard Spincasting right here. This is a Zebco 33. Also came with a Zebco rod. I think we got this package for my daughter at Bass Pro. It was around $50. Very economical setup, came spooled up with line, very low maintenance, very little problems that come out of a package like this. You don't have to worry about line twists or backlashes. Very simple, easy to use rod and reel. You have a wide array of selection in regards to rods because since it is a spin cast rod or reel, you can use it on a casting rod, which is going to be something you can throw with a bait cast reel. We'll talk about that later, but the rod selection is going to open up a ton. The reel's very easy to use. They offer it in a wide array of sizes as well for throwing light baits, heavy baits, fishing for panfish, fishing for big catfish. There's a lot of different options you have here. So first option is going to be a spin cast and basic operation. Get this off here. So when you're actually using this, the way to cast this reel, you press the button, hold it down, throw your bait, let it go, bait takes off. To engage the reel, you just reel on it, you'll hear it click. So again, very easy to use setup. This is my daughter's setup. She can throw a spinner bait like this. She can throw a small crankbait. She could throw a small Texas rig setup. A wide array of different baits you can use with this because it's so easy to use. Wide array of ages can use it. Again, very low maintenance, very easy to use, and very economical. So first setup, spin cast. All right, so the second setup we're going to talk about is a little bit more advanced to use, but they're still widely available, super economical, don't really have a lot of problems out of them. And that's going to be a spinning setup like this one here, typically for throwing finesse baits, Ned rigs. We throw tubes on it. You can throw small jerk baits on them. The others you're throwing on this because of the weight. So a Ned rig comes in 1/6 ounce, 5th ounce, 10th ounce. Because those baits are so lightweight, you need a reel that has the ability to cast and not a lot of resistance. That's where this comes in. So just like the spin cast reel, kind of show you how this casts. Let me move this bait out of the way. So you flip the baler. As you can see, your line's already starting to come off. But you flip the baler. Basically, you hook the line here with your finger on the actual edge here where the rod connects to the reel, and you throw your bait, let this go, and as you can see, the line just kind of free spools off of the reel. Flip that over, make sure there's no twist in your line, and you can start reeling in again. Now again, very easy to use. You can a wide array of locations. Uses go from light duty to heavy duty. The only issue you may have on a rod or reel like this is sometimes the line has a tendency to twist. Other than that, they're very simple and very easy to use. These reels, rather than come on a left or a right hand, are universal. And the spin cast and the bait cast reels all come in left or right hand and they're specific, but this one's a little different. Some guys are right-handed like myself and reel on these reels left-handed. They actually fish like this with their right hand on the reel, and or with the right hand on the rod and the left hand on the reel. They fish this way because when you cast, you're obviously casting with your right hand. So being right-handed, that's what they do. They keep that on there. Some guys like myself, I'm right-handed, but that means I hold my rod in my left hand and reel with my right. All of my spinning rods are set up as a left-hander, if you will. Part of that is because I've just gotten used to reeling with my right hand. The other is I believe I have more ability to feel fish and detect bites in my left hand because I've gotten used to it and acclimated to that way. So rather than try to switch hands back and forth, I just leave it in my left hand, reel with my right, and I feel it does me justice. So again, it's all personal preference. There's nothing here in fishing that is set in stone the way it has to be, but it's your way of doing it. So again, my way, left hand, right hand reel. Majority of people that are right-handed are going to be right hand hold on the rod, left hand reel. So I will show you real quick how to actually take this off. So you unfasten the end of the reel handle. You pull this out and you can see it's threaded. Sometimes there's a little plug that comes in with them, like this. You take this handle out, like so, flip it over to this side, and then thread in the piece that fastens the handle to the actual reel. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back how it was. And what you'll notice is that there's typically a hexagon kind of cut into the reel, and that's what your reel handle is going to sit into. Then this piece is just going to go in here and thread into the handle. So really simple, really easy. Again, I mean, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Meijer, you can go to any Dick's Sporting Goods, you can go to any sporting goods store that sells fishing equipment and find a spinning rod and reel. Again, very economical. This is a setup from Bass Pro Shops that's about, I think, $59 out the door. So rod, reel, you'll have to grab your own line for some of these setups. Some come with it. It's all depends on what you get. My recommendation would be to go hold on to a couple, see how they feel in your hand, but also pay attention to, there's going to be a rating on the bottom here. That's going to tell you the line weight that it's expected to use, as well as the power, the action of the rod, and the length of the rod. So my recommendation on a spinning rod, if you're just starting out, is going to be somewhere between 6 and 6.5 feet. Gives you a little bit more accuracy when you're casting. I would say medium to a medium heavy power. It gives you a wide array of baits to throw with it. You can typically, this one's I believe medium heavy. It's a medium heavy, and the lure weight is 3/8 ounce to 1 ounce, which means you can throw anything lighter than 3/8 as well, and you can go up to a 1 ounce bait. The reason you have such a broad spectrum of baits you can throw on this is because it's more of a universal setup. It's not technique specific. As you go into, I guess you say, go deeper down the hole of bass fishing, you'll find out that there are some spinning rods and reels, and guys get very technique specific with their packages. So I have a rod and reel for throwing a Ned rig, any sort of finesse baits, really small finesse jigs, a Senko, a weightless Senko, 5-inch or under, and then I have another spinning setup for up here on Lake Erie that's to throw, half-ounce tubes on, 6-inch and bigger Senkos. We throw weighted Senko sometimes to cover water. It's just a wide array of baits, and you'll have different rods and reels for different presentations. We won't cover that today, but we're going to just keep going and covering basic rod and reel setups. So again, spinning rod, spinning reel, basic package. I believe this is 10-pound monofilament. Really economical setup. This is going to cover, probably between the spin casting setup and the spinning rod, you're talking probably 75% of all anglers that want to get into bass fishing. This is going to be your least expensive, easiest to maintain, easiest to use, covers the widest array of baits that you could possibly get into for starting out. And then your line selection is really simple. So this is kind of the go-to for what you're looking to get into as an entry-level 101 bass fisherman. All right, so the third setup we're going to talk about is one that's probably a little bit more advanced. It's going to be for a little bit down the road, after you've used a spin cast reel, after you've used a spinning reel, after you've gotten acclimated with certain baits to throw, the lines to use, when to throw them, seasonal, maybe some seasonal patterns, and looking at different setups and trying to understand what you should throw on at different times of the year. So as you progress as an angler, you're going to probably get to a point where you start looking at throwing different baits, probably because you're reading about or seeing a lot of them here on YouTube. Frogs, topwaters, jigs, Carolina rigs, big Texas rigs, punching setups, what have you. You're going to learn about those as you progress as an angler, and that's going to take you to a bait cast setup. So a bait cast reel, some guys also refer to one of these as an open face reel, but it's because it's open up here in the face of the reel. Spinning reels are open on the top, but this reel is very similar to a spin cast reel in that it's the same strategy to cast the reel. You have a button down here by the handle. It uses the same rod that the spin cast reel used. However, it's very different in that you have a spool tension knob here on the side. You have a magnet system or some sort of braking system here on the side plate. And what that allows is to control the spool from overrunning or quickly taking off to where the reel can't catch up, and what you get what's called a bird's nest or a rat's nest. Different people call it different things. Now, this is going to be, like I said, down the road. We use these for flipping, for pitching, which is just a way to take a bait and get it into an area close to the boat, close to the bank without making a big splash. You have a little bit of control as far as where it goes. And then we also use these for heavy duty, big crankbaits, frogs especially. This is, a setup that when you're really trying to get some fish out of vegetation, out of weeds, this is going to be your go-to. The drag setups go anywhere from 10 to 25 pounds as far as what they're capable of. And then we throw line on these up to 65 pounds. I know on the spinning setups, in saltwater, there's some guys that throw some really heavy duty spinning setups, but for most of the freshwater stuff, this is a little bit heavier duty setup than a spinning rod and reel, and you're getting into some really, really nice equipment. Now, this is for an entry-level angler, super nice setup. I would say entry-level to intermediate if you're just getting into bait casters. This is a Bass Pro Qualifier rod and reel. These combos are had for about $100. So when you're getting out there and you're looking at bait casters, it's better to spend a little bit more money to get a better reel than to cheap out and grab something really inexpensively. If it's your first rod and reel, I understand, but if you're going out to get a bait caster, I would say spend a little bit more money, get a little bit better setup, that way you can grow. The reels, once you step into that $70 to I'd say $125 territory for a reel, a lot of them are very good. They're very similar. What you can do is start swapping out rods though. And this rod that comes with the combo, it's just a really economical, spinnerbait, chatterbait. It's not really anything technique specific, but most of them are going to be medium heavy, which covers again the widest array of baits you could possibly throw. They're going to be medium heavy fast, medium heavy extra fast. So I wouldn't really pay attention to powers or actions yet, just because in these established combos you're going to find on the shelf, it's probably going to be a really good go-to. Down the road in another video, we'll cover actions and powers so that you kind of understand how a rod flexes, what you're looking for in a rod for certain techniques, and why you're looking for that. They come in a wide array of handle types. This one has cork. I prefer cork. They also come in foam. Wind makes a really soft grip that gets tacky when it rains on it. Wind grip started with golf grips and they moved into the fishing space. Again, it's all personal preference. I just really like cork. I've used cork handle rods since I was probably 10 years old, and it's just something I've grown accustomed to, so I really like it. Really wanted to cover the 3 rods and reels that you're going to be looking at when you're getting into bass fishing and kind of provide some clarity on which one you should get, which one you should stay away from, and why. And part of that's going to be how you grow as an angler and the techniques you learn, and the other part's going to be how you maintain your gear, and then what you're looking to do with it. So you've got your spinning reel and rod, you've got your spin cast rod and reel, and you've got your bait cast rod and reel. Again, 3 setups that'll take you through whatever you want to do. All right, so now you're going to go out and select a rod and reel. I would suggest going to a local Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Academy, whatever you have near you that is a sporting goods specific store, not just like a Walmart or Meijer. I know those may be local, but they're not going to really have anybody that has any knowledge about the products you're looking at, what's got good reviews, what have they seen possibly come back broken, what have they seen have the most issues. That's something that you're not going to find at a Walmart or any sort of, I guess you'd say, general store that you're going to go to grab fishing gear. So for your first rod or reel setup, I would say go to a dedicated sporting goods store, preferably a Bass Pro, Cabela's, or Academy, something along those lines that they have people that are dedicated to fishing areas and that are dedicated, knowledgeable people in the fishing space that can help you select a rod and reel. Once you do that, you're going to select a line. The first thing I'd probably recommend you use is monofilament. It's very inexpensive. It lasts a long time. It's what a lot of people start out with. I wouldn't get carried away in the different types of line. Like I said, mono is going to be your go-to in almost every situation. So don't bother spending the extra money for braid or fluorocarbon yet. If you're at the entry level, it's not really going to matter. You're not going to probably notice a difference. Just grab some inexpensive monofilament. Anywhere between probably 10 to 14 pound tests would cover you for just about everything. And that would be, the most robust line without really impairing any of the bait actions that you're going to run into. They can actually spool your line up for you. I would highly recommend you have them do it if it's your first time doing it. Your first couple rods and reels, have them spool them up because they're going to do them the correct way. And then when you do it yourself, we're going to have some videos here that show you how to spool up a bait caster, how to spool up a spinning rod and reel, because there are some tricks and techniques that will help you. And if you don't do certain things or pay attention to certain things, your line can actually get damaged, or you can have problems with your gear that lead you to not want to use it. So let those guys spool it up. They'll ask you, do you want us to take care of it? I would say yes. Grab your line, reel, they'll take it, spool it up for you, and you're ready to go. I would also grab a couple of, they're called drop shot sinkers, or a casting plug if they have any of them. You can ask them for those. They're a little weighted rubber plug, or the sinkers you just tie on and you can go out into your backyard and cast around. So that would be my suggestion. I believe most of the Bass Pros also have ponds in their area, so they can go ahead and you can take a rod, tie a sinker on, go to that pond, tie a bait on if you want to, and go out to that pond and cast around and really get acclimated with your equipment before you go out on a fishing excursion, if you will. Part of that's because you should really learn how to use your equipment, and secondly, you need to learn how certain things feel, and learn if you how to troubleshoot certain things. So if you get a knot in your line, or you're casting and you're breaking off the bait or the sinker and it's going out and you're not, it's something you have going on with your casting technique. And rather than be doing that when you're trying to fish, it's probably better to get all that out of the way, learn to be as efficient as possible. So when you're fishing, you're focused on fishing, not how to actually cast the bait without worrying about losing it. All right, so we covered the 3 rods and reels that you're probably going to come across the most when you're looking to get into bass fishing. If you don't have a rod and reel and you're looking to get one, those are the 3 that you're going to cover and use, basically starting from least experienced up to most experienced. And we've covered how you should actually go about selecting a rod and reel, what line you should grab, and overall getting you established as a basic level angler. So the next couple videos that we're going to do are going to be the basic bait selections that you should have in your tackle box when you first start out fishing. We're using artificial baits. We're going to talk about line selection on a deeper level as far as braid, fluorocarbon, monofilament. We're going to talk about how to adjust your drag, how to service your reels, a lot of different things. If there's anything that you want to see, comment below, and then as you progress through your angling experiences, maybe some of these videos you can share with people and help them learn how to get better at fishing, or get them into fishing. So hit that subscribe button and hit that bell. It lets you know when I release a new video, which is weekly. We try to launch them every Sunday, and it also lets me build my audience and helps me here on this channel. So click the subscribe button below, click the bell, hit the comment box. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and as always, tight lines.